Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream. Megavan and Melanin. If you want to know what that means, it means well met, friends. Plural, friends. Melanin. Megavanen means well met. Ukraine live stream. Oh, look. Now I'm on delay. Megavan and Melanin. If you want to know what that means, it means. We can pause that. So, what's going on in Ukraine these days in the world? Boy, oh boy. Well, I tell you, if you're a Russian troll watching this video, you are in for a treat today, because we're gonna do something that I haven't done before. Kind of an interesting thing. I'm sort of playing around with my views right now, but you guys are going to get to look inside a real Stepana Bandera hideout. Really, really. Not a joke at all. Except that I'm going to change my whole screen around right now, because I don't like how this is showing up. So we'll go to the other side. By the way, soon I am going to change the website here. It's for right now, the website that you want to go to you can go to buymeacoffee.com/whyukraine, but the main website I'm using right now is whyukraine.myshopify.com. But I purchased the domain name of whyukraine.com just to make it shorter. Doesn't cost a whole lot. Didn't cost a whole lot. Definitely worth it. And soon the store will be on that domain. So yeah, so a couple of people said, "Oh, hey, Dr. Dawson, Elvin Archer, everybody's here. Paul, Bell, I saw KK's GG. You had a problem with your membership. Yeah, get me on the Discord maybe, and I can check that on my side and verify for you. Sometimes, there's little glitches that happen. Certainly. Very soon, membership will be not only available on the YouTube channel or through YouTube, it will also be available through the Why Ukraine website. So I'm not sure how that's going to integrate with YouTube, but it will be integrated with Discord. So that's coming. It's coming down the line. Been planned for a long time. Yeah, guys. So today we're going to get into the news. So I'm sorry if you're a Russian troll watching this. You are going to have to wait until we get through the news before I give you the tour of the secret Bandera hideout. But I think you'll find it interesting. At least one of our members here has actually already been to it. So, you've really, if you're a Russian troll, you've encountered an entire cabal of veritable resistance fighters. Elvin Archer, thank you. I am well. Less sleep deprived than yesterday, but a little frazzled. Went to my first physiotherapy session in more than a month, and boy, did I need it. I've been doing the exercises that he gave me, that my therapist gave me to do, basically all on my own, and I've been doing them wrong. This is what it comes down to. That's or at least half of them I was doing incorrectly, So he set me straight, and I'm feeling much better now. Oh yeah, your emails. Yeah, the auto deduct. I can again though. I can go and check from my side, and we can figure it out. A lot of people have gifted memberships. Yeah, sure, Con, you like that term, cabal. I feel like I really should do a better job of getting right into the news. I'm a little slow. I apologize. I think I would get a lot more viewers for, if I was just like right up on it. But I'm a little slow out of the gate. I need to get better. I'm getting better slowly. Probably just about the time when I get really good at doing live streams is the time when I'll get like sent to the front line or to dig trenches or something. That's usually how it goes. But let's talk about what is happening on the front lines first before we get into all the crazy stuff happening in geopolitics and all over the world and all of that. So, I mean, this is really, really important to know. During the day, Russians attacked the Zaporizhia, and if you guys aren't sure how to pronounce this, it's zh. It's Zaporizhia. That's how I understand it. But to be honest, to my American ears, it just sounds like Zaporizhia. There's no zh in there. But a trained, specialized Ukrainian ear can make that distinction. I have heard the most hilarious mispronunciations of this word, though. Zaporziza, Zizzer, I don't know, all kinds of other hilarious ones. But the most important thing is not the specifics of this. It's the fact that the Russians attacked Zaporizhia region more than 360 times. And if you're not sure where that is, let's zoom in. So this is the oblast of Zaporizhia, and the oblast of Zaporizhia covers like kind of this whole territory here. So it borders Donetsk Oblast. You can think of that as like Donetsk state on the east, and Kherson Oblast on the west, which is this area over here. And the divider line is right there. That's the Zaporizhia divider line. So we're talking about from Enerhodar, which is where that nuclear power plant is, all the way over to Velika Novosilka. So this general area right here, 360 times, okay, 360 different separate attacks, and this is not even the most active area of the front. So, Dr. Gerdes has hilarious trouble with Ukrainian names. Yeah, there used to be a channel, or there is a channel that I used to watch at the beginning of the war called Speak the Truth. And unfortunately, they kind of didn't. And so I stopped watching them. I don't know. It's debatable. But for a long time, the main reason I watched them was just to listen to them try to pronounce Ukrainian city names. Highly entertaining. And I'm not saying I'm perfect either. I struggle for sure. But so just, this is barely even in the news is what I'm trying to say. And we're seeing that it's being attacked so much. And just speaking about these guys, Alpha Company 1st Battalion, who we are supporting, and you guys have now, God, I know I'm terrible about this, that you guys have contributed more than this. I think we're over $800 now towards a truck out of $3,500 is what we need. Oh yeah, KKSGG. Yeah, it looks like it's a standard. Well, thank you for taking the time to update your membership, KKSGG. It really makes a difference. And Wizard of Ooze, Mr. Dawson is absolutely welcome to provide you a guide. I don't mind. But I will tell you that I'm going to be there. That is why I am pounding coffee tonight. So there you go. I will be there. I don't know who else is going to be there, but I'm going to be there. So yeah, so I just wanted to make sure you understand that just because it's not in the news or even any of let's not even say news, any of the sources that we look at, like ATP Geopolitics or whoever else you're watching to get your news, there's still stuff that's happening that just can't get covered. There's no way you could possibly cover every single thing. But I just want to let you guys know that I'm not going to give away the exact details, but kind of in this general area is where these guys are, and that's the area that's getting attacked 360 freaking times. Yeah. Can you tell I'm not saying as much as yesterday? I normally don't drink coffee. I'm literally only. Oh shit, Starsky's gonna be there. Dr. Dawson, that's rad. And Greg, oh, cool. And Phil and Rick, oh man. And Slavi, oh cool. I want to talk to Slavi because I want to do like a co-stream with her. Anyway. Yeah, that I'm only drinking coffee to stay up for the shills, to go on the shills. Yeah. So yeah, and Dr. Gerdes, don't call him Mr. Gerdes. No, I love oh my god, I almost said it. I love Darren. He's amazing. He's helped me out a lot, by the way. I give him shit sometimes, but it's like love. It's in a loving way. At least that's what I intend. I hope he takes it that way. But once again, I know I'm beating a dead Russian here, a dead horse rather. Sorry. But this Pokrovsk is, I believe, the most critical part of the front right now. Okay, and that's right here, and you can see where the Russians have advanced right in this area. This salient is getting broader and wider and really disconcerting. Another one that I was biscuit eater. Give me a second. I meant to show you guys this reporting from Ukraine. Reported on, I think it's this battle that's happening right here. The tiny little, I think it's right here. This tiny little part of the front line. And I know this may seem really insignificant to you because it looks so tiny, but it's very close to New York. And by the way, guys, just for our honor as Americans and free people of the West, we cannot allow New York to fall. Okay, I think that's a bad omen. That's all I'm saying. And I mean that slightly tongue in cheek, but not really. I think it actually signifies a lot. Paul, I'll be amazed if I don't fall asleep through the stream, let alone stay awake for the shills too. You guys, I would like to encourage you. If in fact, let me just take a pause, and I would like to say that I understand that not everybody has the wherewithal to even buy like a membership, okay, or send support on our website here. That's totally cool. Let me show you something that you can do. And I just want to. I think I've mentioned this before, but if you wanted to help me, okay. And I recommend every YouTuber, UA-tuber do this. But I have created a playlist, and oh my god, you guys see how many playlists I have? It's crazy. But I have a playlist. Most of these are private playlists. You can't see them all. But this one, I have created a playlist called Support Ukraine in Your Sleep. Okay, so if you go to my page and you go to playlists, you'll see this playlist here. Support Ukraine in Your Sleep. And what I have here is these are basically my most recent live streams. And if you, like some people do, some people like to, for various reasons, leave their computers on when they're not around. A lot of employers do that for various reasons, system updates, that sort of thing. If you have a computer at work that has to be left on all the time, then why not just set this to play all, set it to, you can go here, right? Play all. And I'm not going to play it all. Look, it's me from yesterday. Okay. There. Okay. And then go here to where it says loop playlist and set it to loop. And then just let it run. And you can turn the sound off. Don't turn the sound off here. Instead turn the sound off on your computer. So don't do this. Turn the sound off on your computer, like in this case, it would be here for me. Okay. And then just let it run. And if you, speaking about, cracking the algorithm, like those of us who support Ukraine, we're always trying to do that because we're constantly getting shadow banned and shut down and everything else. Yeah. This will, if those of you who can, I understand not everybody can, do that. And it will really help at least my channel. And others too. I mean, I don't think Dr. Dawson needs help, but you could create a playlist like that and people could just play it on a loop, in any case, yes, this is the reporting from Ukraine video that I just wanted to talk about.
Today, the most important updates come from the Turets direction.
Yeah.
Here, Russians have taken advantage of a botched Ukrainian brigade rotation.
Right.
And took control of a Ukrainian stronghold.
Right. So another screw up with the brigade or unit rotation, I should say. And that's communication between units. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Dawson, let's see. The Last Alliance, YouTube isn't that stupid in my opinion. I would change the name to the All Day Playlist. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I may do that. And yeah, it really helps to boost, it would boost my channel a lot. It would make a huge, huge difference. I don't care about it's not about, making money from views. There's so little, like such a tiny, tiny amount. It's more about just keeping Ukraine in front of the eyeball, in front of people's eyeballs. Yeah. Yeah, Herb. Exactly. Open a new tab, play. Now, here's the only problem. If the tab is minimized, it won't work. If the tab is minimized, if you just have it minimized like this, no, it won't. YouTube, oh my God, how many windows do I have open? This is insane. What's wrong with me? But yeah, you have the tab, but you can make it really small on the screen like that. It could be like this big, as long as it's not minimized. You can do it. But okay, so that's not the point. Not the point I'm trying to make here with this video. So this attack, this particular Russian attack, really scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you. And let me explain. And it looks like it's just a tiny, tiny part of the front line. Okay. Yes, correct. It must be the front open tab, Dr. Dawson. That's correct. Yeah. So if it's hidden, it's hidden right now, won't work. Has to be on the screen somewhere. And yes, YouTube does actually detect that, because especially if you're running it in Chrome. So, I understand it's not for everybody. You can't do it all the time, but that's why I call the playlist "Support Ukraine in Your Sleep." Okay. but anyway, so going back to this attack that reporting from Ukraine talked about, basically the Russians found, and you should go and watch the video and you'll get more detail. I'm just giving you the synopsis. The Russians found a tunnel somewhere in here, okay, that goes from this city, Mayorsk, to somewhere over here, okay, some like abandoned tunnel, and like a drainage tunnel from this canal or something of that nature, okay. And then they just basically popped up in the middle of this little Druzhba city, which I think Druzhba means like friend in English, which is pretty ironic. Yes, thank you, Elvin. I was watching that. It sucks. Orcs made it through. And then over on this side, they also did kind of a it's basically a pincher attack here. All right. And then so according to reporting from Ukraine, I'm just going off what he said. And then the Ukrainian defenses were okay. So here's that second part of the pincher attack, essentially. So the Ukrainian defense is held, all right, but then Russia came in with a big freaking airstrike on the Ukrainian defenses, and in particular in these areas. And so what they did was, so this here, I'll go back to the deep state map. Let's see if I can find it here. Where is it? I think it's this area here, maybe. Looks kind of like a sand pit. It's basically kind of a hill. All right. It's tailings from like manufacturing or a mine. Yeah, tunnel dwelling orcs again. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mr. Squiggle, again. And this is my concern, right? So then basically the orcs from this hill were able to put laser targeting on specific buildings that they wanted the Russian Air Force to attack. And then the Russian Air Force came in and dropped massive bombs on this section here. Okay. So this shows, this is to me and the only reason that they didn't turn this, they weren't able to turn this into the same kind of salient as they have down here, is that the Russians just didn't have this particular unit, brigade, whatever they are, didn't have the mass that they needed to take advantage of this. So the thing that's scary about this to me is there's some commander down here in this area, and maybe it's the same one that's running this show too. Okay. There's some commander on the Russian side who's good. Okay. Or at least has, somebody under him who's good. Okay. Because here's why. Okay. First of all, why was there a problem with troop rotation on the Ukrainian side? Why didn't the Ukrainian command know that there was a tunnel here? It's their territory. Right? So here, look, I'm learning how to use the deep state map. They're the defending force. Ukraine should have known that this was a possibility. Right? Hey, Cypher. Oh, long time no smell, man. Thank you for coming. But okay, so Ukraine should have known about this. I mean, the Ukrainian command in this area, whoever is in charge in this area, should have realized that this was a possibility, that this could happen. And the fact that this tunnel wasn't guarded, blocked, would have been great to let the orcs through and then ambush them one by one as they came out the other side. Sure, that's what I mean. Surely someone issued a command to check for disused tunnels by now, So, oh, you just got back from cutting the lawn. Awesome. Awesome. I hope you had big scissors. They could have mined the tunnel, any number of things. But this is not the first time that this has happened. Okay? Lack of knowledge of the terrain that you are defending is bad, So the fact that this happened right next to, I mean, these, I'm guessing that these, this area is probably under the same command. And as I recall, if I'm not mistaken, this is the area that the General Sodal, was commanding. And one of the reasons why he got canned was because of this incident here that allowed this salient to break through after Avdiivka. So, but that points to not just problems with him, because he's been replaced, right? His commanders underneath him. Yeah, they caught him in a rotation again, through a pipe again. Yeah, somebody's going to answer for this. And then, but those are mistakes on the Ukrainian side. But even what's more disconcerting is this calling in these strikes with lasers and stuff. Like, that shows that some commander in here is edging towards combined arms maneuver. I mean, we've seen for years now, literally years, that the Russian army can't learn, that they're stupid, and they'll die too quickly to learn anything. But I would say clearly that is not the case. Somebody's learning. Somebody's trying new things on the Russian side. So I'm sorry. These are things that I hope get resolved. Yeah. So, and Chasiv Yar is the real goal of this, as I have said. And then on up this road. So once you get to Chasiv Yar, then you've got Konstantinivka, and then Kramatorsk, kind of up this way. And all we can do is hope that, I think that the troops are good. It's the commanders that, this is a very interesting article about what's going on in Chasiv Yar. So about like a quarter of the city is taken now. The Canal District. It's a very interesting statement here. The most dangerous thing is the entry and exit, because that's where you're exposed. And just imagine being a reporter here, One big reason why this city is so important to take is because it sits on a high, it's my understanding that it sits on a relatively high elevation, or parts of it do anyway, that can, kind of command the whole area. And it's so close to Bakhmut that it makes logistics a lot easier. In terms of roads and stuff. This is a very interesting quote. You go one night, everything is fine. You arrive the next night, and the house is gone. So the Russians are attacking there hard, real hard. So that's what's going on in the battlefield, guys. It's just hard slogging fights. And yes, Russia's losing more than 1,000 men every day. And I would say that it's the big reason behind the quote-unquote peace plan that Putin has proposed, which we're going to talk about. I think I have it in my list to talk about. But I want to talk about this. I love this. Zelensky calls on Trump to reveal his plans to end the war. We still haven't seen anything, other than he's going to call both people to negotiate. And if they don't, then he'll stop funding. He'll stop giving money to Ukraine, basically, But what are the actual negotiations going to be? What are the terms going to be? And I think it's very important what Zelensky here said. They cannot plan my life, the lives of our people and our children. But, I mean, it's not just about calling Trump's bluff. This is not just a political thing. Ukraine needs to plan for this, for the worst to happen. Yeah, Keith, I agree with you. The Avdiivka salient happened the same way. It seems too fishy. Kharkiv didn't even have defenses, and they stopped that so fast, and the East just keeps gaining. Yeah, and this is, I think, a big reason why Zelensky fired Sodol. But it's not just about the one guy. I guarantee it's his whole pyramid of power. Elvin Archer, Zelensky said they are still waiting for a promised kit, but that's been the story this whole time. So, I just think that we need to know, and Zelensky's right to ask this. I don't think that Donald Trump is even going to respond at all. He's just going to ignore it. And it's funny that you mentioned this about promised kit, Elvin Archer. This is the biggest tragedy of this war, that we have a very, very, very long wait between the decision and the real fact. And you will notice that I do not, like, there are other YouTubers, and I don't take issue with their stance at all, who report on every single pledge of aid that Ukraine gets. And I do not, because it gets pledged at least 3 times before it ever makes it to Ukraine. Before it even gets approved, it gets pledged. And then after it gets approved, then it gets, reported on 3-4 more times. And so people have this mistaken idea that the aid is like that. There's like 4 or 5 more times of aid than is actually coming. The way that it's presented by the press, this $61 billion military aid packages, most of that's not coming to Ukraine. Okay. Most of that's going to American companies to pay for new stuff that's backfilling the U.S. military, what have you. So this has been reported here, as it says, and I strongly disagree with this. Zelensky U-turns as he invites Russia to attend peace summit without giving up land. Okay. So this is not a U-turn. I mean, come on. Zelensky has said, and every Ukrainian you talk to will say, we're not going to have peace without all of our integral territory. without all of Ukraine. Okay, that's different from coming to a peace summit. It's a completely separate thing. So I just think it's incredibly disingenuous that the Telegraph is saying this. Probably an unintentional misinterpretation. So, yeah, I think they should. I think Russia should come to the next peace summit. I think that it's appropriate that at the first peace summit, Ukraine needed to band together its allies to the extent that they could be banded and to the extent that they were together. German aid to Ukraine is one of the few who keep an honest track of pledged and delivered from his country. Is that a YouTube channel, Wizard? I think I've seen it, but I'm not certain. Let me see here. Yeah, Herb, thank you. Sure, we can talk, but after you get the fuck out of our land. No, I mean, talk is just that, Let's see here. German aid to Ukraine. It's a channel. I'm not fine. Oh God, of course. All right. He works with Tochny. Okay. I will. I'll put that on my list to search for. But then of course he's just keeping track of aid coming from Germany, right? Yeah. Hello, Nikki. Thanks for coming. Okay. He's on Tochny. Okay. Yeah. Right. So now freaking Orban. What the F, dude? I mean, first of all, and I don't know where United 24 is getting this, but this is pretty interesting. So Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban shared his impressions of his recent trip to Moscow, where he met with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Orban described the meeting as extraordinary, whatever the fuck that means, emphasizing Putin's control over significant warheads, territory, population, and natural resources, referring to Russia as a real empire. Well, at least he's telling the truth about that. Orban noted that the trip was organized under conditions of extreme secrecy, which he maintained as long as he could. He also hinted at similar unexpected meetings that might occur next week, but did not provide specifics about with whom these meetings would be. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think this little Weasley wannabe spy, I think he's a mole I think he's a traitor to the EU. He's a mole in NATO. And I think that Russia needs to be declared a terrorist state. And of course, that's not going to happen for, the next 6 months? Shirkan, this war sucks, is what I think. Orban should be removed from the rotating presidency. Yes. Here's the problem. What are the legal ways to do that in the EU? As I understand it, there aren't any. There's no way to stop Orban unless he can literally be kicked out of the EU. There's no way to stop he and countries like he from having that rotating presidency. Mr. Squiggle and KKCG, you guys are talking about something, and I kind of missed the beginning of it. So I apologize if I don't address it, but I'll go back and read, or we can talk about it later. perhaps on the Discord or something. Yeah, KKGG, that's right. They're proud of that empire moniker. I mean, and Orban is clearly not saying it, he's not saying it as a insult. He's saying that as a compliment. They're a real empire, like that's a good thing. And it's clear that he wants to, be the head of his own little empire too. And the same is true for, Donald Trump and all these little, micro penis dictators. Overcompensators, I guess we could call them. Right. NATO and the EU need to find ways to stop these clowns destroying our security alliances. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the fact that MAGA have met with him several times, and I mean, he's hosting these extreme right-wing American conferences in Hungary, makes me wonder who and what is happening behind the scenes. I mean, it's not really even behind the scenes. That we just, don't go to those conferences. But I can tell you, I've read articles and seen YouTube. I mean, they're pretty much out in the open with what they're doing and what they want to do. And they're getting money from a lot of rich oligarchs in the United States. And I'd say probably the thing that's really happening behind the scenes is Orban is funneling massive amounts of money to specific Republican candidates in America. That's what I think. If you want to know what I think is happening behind the scenes, that's what I really think. Yeah, Orban wants to reform the Austro-Hungarian Empire, is basically what he wants to do. And they've probably made an agreement to that degree. Yeah. No. KKGG, I'm totally cool with side convos in the chat. It's just, I actually I was interested in that side convo and I missed it. And so I was like, No. You guys are welcome to have. You could talk about the weather, whether the sky is blue or green. It's totally cool with me. Don't feel bad about side convos, man. Talk about your garden and spaghetti. I don't know what. It's totally. Every comment you make helps the algorithm, right? So yeah, totally. I just was wondering what it was, so I missed it. Yeah. So, anyway, so there is talk about, ousting Viktor Orban from the presidency or banning him from the presidency, but I just don't know. I haven't heard anyone propose, some, a legal means to do that within the context of the EU. And this here, this is really something. So Germany says Hungary canceled a foreign minister meeting. First of all, Orban should never have gone to. It should have been Orban going to Russia. It should have been this foreign minister, right? But at the same time that this meeting is happening, Hungary has canceled a meeting for Monday in Budapest with Germany's foreign minister and her Hungarian counterpart. So they're basically, I mean, that's a big freaking middle finger to Germany. And the reason that that's a big middle finger is that Hungary's manufacturing sector, a large part of Hungary's manufacturing sector is reliant upon the actual German manufacturers. So they're making stuff for German manufacturers, or there's actual German manufacturers in Hungary. Okay. If Germany, for some reason, pulled out or created some sort of sanctions against Hungary for some reason, Hungary's economy would fall to shit. Absolute shit. So, I honestly think it's just a matter of time before Hungary jumps ship and falls in with Putin and China. I think that's what they're planning. They're just waiting for the right time to do it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, are we talking about the Project 2025? That's what we were talking about. Okay. Yeah. Like a terrible movie script. Yeah. And I did want to bring that up. That is on my list here. I want to get to that. Yeah. So Trump has claimed, I think Trump, this Project 2025 has come out. And so now Trump is saying, oh, I don't know anything about that. And people are, now that the jig is up, 922. I did not read the whole thing, obviously. Like I have time for that. But I'm glad some of you did. Interesting. Mitch, Orban is not following the rules and mandates of his chair. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some legal means to give him the dump. The Trump dump. So, I mean, I think they're all lying. I think they're all hiding stuff. But this thing that Orban said here, this little subtext, he also hinted at similar unexpected meetings that might occur next week, but did not provide specifics about with whom these meetings would be. I think that is intended to instill some fear in the Ukrainian populace, because Orban came to Kyiv and met with Zelensky, and a lot of Ukrainians are terrified that Zelensky is somehow going to, give up Ukraine, give up some part of Ukraine, give up Crimea, give up something. Terrified of that, absolutely terrified. And I think that's kind of what Orban was trying to imply with his statement here. But now we know that Putin, since this, what's this here? Orban reveals 3 questions he asked Putin about the war in Ukraine. Of course, this is a lie, but I'll check it out anyway. I wouldn't trust anything Orban says. Yeah. But Putin has. So the questions he asked was, what does Putin think of the existing peace initiatives? What he thinks about ceasefire and peace talks and when they could be held? Putin's opinion on the post-war European security system. And of course, Orban did not say what Putin said about them, but I think we can guess. Okay. Keith, Article 7 for Orban. That is interesting. I didn't know. I am somewhat ignorant of EU law. Yeah, Project 2025, Paul. It's a big deal. YouTube is censoring you. It could be. I'm using Restream, and Restream has an automatic censor. I found out. And I keep trying to turn it off, and every time I use this particular software, it just turns it back on again. So it's possible, and I'm not sure how to change it, other than dumping Restream, which I might. But I have enough on my hands right now. So now Putler has come out now and said, here I need to say Putin final. So basically said that he after his meeting with Orban. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh no. Okay, this is a video.
My name is Michael. I'm
Oh, of course. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, I can't find the article. All I can find is combat veteran reacts.
today.
Reaction to this.
Has Putin gone full mask off in his efforts to find peace in Ukraine?
I think combat veteran reacts has really been, since he quit doing combat. I did like his combat reaction videos on YouTube, but his analyses on the geopolitical stuff is actually pretty damn good. Pretty goddamn good. And so I'm sorry I can't find the article, but basically after or right around the same time as this meeting with Orban, Putin just basically came out and said, no way, no way, we're gonna, I don't know if he said final solution, but he said the same kind of words, So I really think that here's what I think happened. I think that Putin really thought, probably because he's getting, bad feedback about how the war's going. He really thought that we got the Ukrainians over the barrel now. Cheryl, you're right. You're absolutely right. Who am I conflicting with? Because I think Tridents Against Tyrants is at 8:30. And I think Rick the Ukrainian should have finished already. And then he'll start up later, I hope. Anyway. Herb, but always buy my gum. I know. I'm telling you though, Strike gum, this freaking Strike gum, oh my god, I'm going to do a commercial for this guy's gum. It would be really good here in Ukraine. Okay, because the guys have to walk, 5K every time to get to their OP, to their observation post. Like this guy. Okay, I want to scroll through my pictures. These guys who have to walk out, and truck with their freaking 80, 100-pound, 150-pound bags or whatever, and they don't have a damn truck. I mean, these guys could really use that freaking strike gun. I literally think that I'm going to put it on my website for this Alpha Company 1st Battalion specifically. I'm swear to God, I think I'm going to do it. I mean, I want to focus on getting him a truck first. That's the most important thing. But, yeah, gum speed, Yeah, I know. I'm so jealous. I'm super jelly of Rick, Greg, Genya, and Mercado all together. Oh my God. It's rocking. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Ken. Yeah, I see. 5 memberships for Mr. Nobody, Dimitriu. Thank you guys all for joining. Thank you so much. Richard and Alabama Cajun and Kay. I'm glad you're all here. It's great. But anyway, so I think it's I think that really what happened is Putin was expecting his servant Orban to come, he basically delivered an ultimatum to Zelensky, and Zelensky's like, what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? And he went back to Putler, and Putler was like, I'll crush them. They won't bow to me. I really think it. So there's that. Man, you know what I really miss? Somebody, I hardly ever have time to listen to Mercado anymore. I'm sorry to say. But you know what I really miss? Somebody tell Mercado. Good Morning Kyiv was so freaking awesome. I loved Good Morning Kyiv. Can we just somebody tell Mercado and Alex Kanash and all those guys that we need Good Morning Kyiv back. Okay, if somebody doesn't start Good Morning Kyiv, I might do it. You know, I'll have to move back to Kyiv, but that's not the point. Yeah, but you're right. These guys out there on the front line, I'm thinking about chew it before you gotta, assault a trench. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, of course, Mercado is going to get heart palpitations. It's not intended for you to, chew it and sit there and play video games. Oh, sorry, my neck. It's a little bit just. I did a lot of neck exercises in physiotherapy today. All right, so let's talk about this. You guys watched the Elvin Archer. Yeah, Putin is literally like the Emperor in Star Wars. Yeah, pretty much. Darth Putin. So you guys tell me. I couldn't watch it. I watched some clips. I watched just like the beginning and some little things here, but talking about Biden. In an ABC interview, this was Biden trying to do damage control, and apparently, and I got the vibes on this too. The little clips that I watched, I just shut them off because I was like, oh my God, I can't see this. I can't see this right now. Oh, Mr. Nobody. So Mercado said he's going to bring back Good Morning Kyiv. Or wait a minute. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe somebody ought to do it. If not Mercado, then somebody. God damn it. It'd be cool. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Okay. In any case, so this did not reassure anyone. Essentially. Far from easing anxieties about his candidacy, the president's sit-down with George Stephanopoulos of ABC News should further alarm Democratic leaders. Biden's remarks indicated that his party may be heading towards a worst-case scenario, in which the president is largely incompetent as a campaigner, but not so consistently and flagrantly inept that his incapacity to win re-election becomes undeniable even to himself. What do you guys think? I want to know what you guys think. Maybe we need to give Joe Biden some strike gum. Maybe that's what it'll either help him pronounce his words correctly and seem, I'm sure he's a smart guy. I'm sure he's capable of being the president. I'm actually sure of that. I just don't, as a person who speaks publicly all the time, often when I am sleep deprived or feeling a little bit tired or whatever, and I'm half his age, for Christ's sake, slightly more than half his age. Oh, Phil Ittner is live. Cool. And ATP finally popped one out. Oh, that's a image that I did not want to have, Cheryl. I did not want to have that image. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, Mr. Nobody. Like, I know that just because you can't talk right, there's this little thing called rhetoric, and it's a great way to hide the fact that you're stupid. Okay, and politicians use rhetoric all the time. They speak real good, but they're freaking idiots. And Mitch said, I think it's actually too late to change horses. Technically, it can be done, but I don't think it is realistic. I don't understand how technically it can be done. Like, the voters voted for Joe Biden. The only horse that we can change to, technically, is Kamala Harris. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And maybe Kamala Harris will be the next president if Joe Biden gets elected. Okay, I mean that with the best of intentions. The guy's old. I think, even if he does get elected, he's gonna need to step down at some time in the next administration, and I think that's okay. Well, you know what? With all these other guys premiering and live streaming, Brandon Mitchell too. Thank you, those of you who are here, and it's totally cool. Thank you. If you need to go and check that out, I'm cool with that. Yeah, Keith, I agree with you. Trump is a traitor. Biden is who we have, and I think that Kamala Harris will not be a bad president. Certainly not. I mean, not the worst. Shahir Zahia. Now, this is a very good question, and thank you for asking it. Is there any truth to the rumor that Zelensky is unhappy with Starsky and wants to bring Zaluzhny back? First part of your question is yes. There is. Well, no. I'm supposing there is a rumor that seems to have some truth that Zelensky is unhappy with Starsky. And probably Starsky was not his first choice. That's what we can surmise from the collective evidence that I've reported on for weeks and weeks. Wants to bring Zaluzhny back? No, I don't think he does. I think that there are plenty of up-and-coming young generals and commanders in the in the ZSAU to choose from, who will be great. And Herb says, talking about Biden, yeah, at the convention they can, but it's a free-for-all. Shere Khan, let's go underground. I mean, I think you could mean that on multiple levels, but I think it's a good time. You're absolutely right. We're going to do that. I think it's a good time to do that. You could keep Kamala as VP to keep all the pledged funds and have another as president if everyone agrees on a good option. I don't see that happening, Wizard of Oz. I think that if Harris inherits the money and the machine, there was an open primary late in the race LGBT Humphrey years ago. It was a mess, riots and such because of the Vietnam War. Yeah. And the structure of primaries and the structure of conventions and the authority that they have within the party has changed since that time. What is this? Sheridan? It's for me to drink? Is it alcohol? No. Kind of smells like it. Oh. Okay. I don't know. My wife just gave me some random water. Anyway. Yeah, I agree, Shere Khan. I think that let's take a moment. I think if there's any orc trolls lurking, you guys have lurked for an hour. And I think it's time to reward you for all your hard works. Sorry. So let's go and visit. Let's just take a break from all this madness and stick our heads in the sand or concrete for just a minute, and let's check out something fun. Yeah, guys? We'll come back to all this horribleness. Yeah. She cares about me, Cypher. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, Zaluzhny is actually already in the UK. He went to UK something like last week, I think. So here we go. Yeah. Guess what this is? I just want to pause the video right here for all of the Russian orc trolls to just get a good look at it. Okay? Just get a good look. Yeah. Freudian slip indeed. This, by the way, if you want to know what this says, it says O-U-N. That's the letter U, like Ukraine. And so this is, the Russians are always freaking out about Stepana Bandera. And so this is an actual hideout of actual Banderites in Ukraine that I got to go and visit. And there's actual uniforms. I wanted to buy one of those scarves. That was so cool. And I think there are pictures of like Melnik and Stepana Bandera and all of these people. There's a command, what do you call it? A command chart of the resistance fighters. And this particular location, here I just had to come back for a redo. This particular location was used all the way up through the 1960s. So from the 30s through the 1960s. And I really think this symbology is quite interesting here. So they've got the Ukrainian trident, a Christian cross, and an upside down triangle. I think just because they had 3 letters and they needed something. This is a really important thing that I just want to point out when the Russians talk about, they're, Ukrainian Nazis, blah, blah, blah. The Russians collaborated and had a treaty with the Nazis, divided Poland together under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Act, okay? And so for how many years? From 39 to 42, okay? And then after that, from 42 to 45, so for 3 years, the OUN and the, what is it called? The UPA, the Ukrainian resistance, reluctantly teamed up with the Nazis just to fight against the Soviets, pitting one evil against the other, essentially. Almost the same amount of time that the Soviet Union was also teamed up with the Nazis. So, it's a classic thing of, if you point one finger at me, there's 3 fingers pointed back at you. So yeah, this secret hideout was used all the way through, for like 30 years.
Yeah, we better go.
So you take one little, what the Russians are doing is they're taking one little slice of Ukrainian history and expanding it to include all of Ukrainian history and all Ukrainians. So anyway, this is the big tour. I hope the orcs, I hope some of them watched this far. I just, check this out. Here, I just want to show. So this is some, various, I don't know. I can't really read it, but anti-Soviet propaganda, essentially. And I don't know what time frame this is all from.
But these guys not staying
real
here
history.
more than 1 or 2 nights. They always.
So this is from 1950. Okay, 1950. Ukrainian resistance propaganda. That's a hell of a long time after. A long time after World War II. You know? Let's see if I can. There we go. I can read some of this. It says Soldat. Let's see here. Go back here. Soldat. So this is Ukrainska Povst. I can't read that. Armia. I think it's urging, soldiers perhaps serving in the Soviet army, with urging them to. It says smert, which means death. Bandam. It's beyond me. Death to our enemies, I'm guessing. And that one's upside down. But it's Archangel Michael. And that is Taras Shevchenko. And so it's a Ukrainian soldier it's a Ukrainian soldier breaking free of his chains under the auspices of the Archangel Michael. I see it. And it's killing the dragon like St. George and the Dragon. Anyway, it's pretty. I should flip this over because that's an amazing
you see, babe,
little flyer.
it was upstairs.
Yeah. And this is something about Christmas. Rіздво Христові, which means I think it means like Rіздво means like the birth of Christ. Rіздво, birth, and like Christovi is like talking about Christ. So okay, yeah. So the UPA was involved in the Volyn massacre of Poles, not the OUN. Yeah. But I just want to point out that the whole point of this is that time in history where during World War II was just a very small smidgen of time in the history of Ukrainian resistance to Russian occupation. So, and mainly I'm just showing you guys this because I really hope it pisses off the Russian trolls. Interesting. What is this one? So here's a wolf. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's a wolf with a Nazi armband. And then there's a wolf over here with a Soviet armband, it looks like. Looks like a hammer and sickle. And they're beating the peas. I wish I could read what that says. Aga. Oh, I'm not good enough. But I will translate it and find out. So, thank you guys for taking that little break with me in our little history lesson. and yeah, so I just wanted to show you that. And I can't tell you where that hideout was located. If you're an orc troll, I will tell you that that hideout was in Donetsk. City of Donetsk. That's where it was. In any case. So now that we've gone through that little thing here, all the news is bad news about Biden right now, and I don't have it. I'm scared. We're all scared. We just have to vote. Because we've got guys like this in Tennessee, who it's just very interesting. This little article, Marshall County, Tennessee, population 1796. Chapel Hill, right? And this is in an area where, like, it's the same people who were that their fathers and grandfathers were Klansmen. Okay. And now they're voting for Trump. That's the whole point I was trying to make here about this. We could call it racism. I call it fear of the unknown. And so this whole thing about, immigrants are taking over our country. It's just that fear of the unknown, that is being, ignorant people are being played, not understand. Yeah, Elvin Archer, I did see some reports that Biden's ratings are improving. Yes. I think that is, on some level, it's because people aren't paying attention to the election at all yet. Most people, like maybe 20% of people, are paying attention. The rest of people don't care. And also there's evidence that 90% of people have already made their decision. So we're only talking about 1%. Sorry, 10% realistically of the population that's essentially going to decide this election. And the question is, who is that 10% going to be? Sorry, I have an allergy attack, I guess, right now. Be that as it may. And in the meantime, we've got all this make America great again mumbo jumbo, and we're not. Trump's, oh god, why do I have so many paywalls right now? Trump's project 2025 and all of that stuff, it's scaring the crap out of our allies, and it's doing the opposite of making America great again. Anna, as an American indigenous, I agree. You all need to go back home. Yeah, I used to have I used to like the bumper sticker I used to see in New Mexico that said, "America, love it or give it back." Yeah, you know what? I hope that these accusations, Paul, you said, is that because Trump was recently accused of being a pedo? I hope that more of this stuff about Trump and Epstein comes out. We know we're reasonably certain that according to these transcripts, that Trump and Epstein, had a close relationship, and that there are multiple women out there who have accused Trump and have dirt on Trump, and they're afraid to come forward. They're afraid to come forward. That's interesting, Herb. They say we need the immigrants to do jobs we won't. I disagree. The gangbangers and dropouts need to do the manual labor. It's a theory. Yeah. The main point is, it's immigration is just, it hasn't changed in 40 years, Thank you, Keith. James, I literally saved the picture with Trump and Epstein for Discord. Yes. Shere Khan, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. You know, and then on top of that, we have the Supreme Court going nuts. You know, this is a very interesting article. Law schools left reeling after latest Supreme Court earthquakes. You know, I mean, like it's our entire body of law is basically turned on its head. I thought Citizens United was bad. This is craziness. This is absolute craziness. You know what I mean? And then we have this. Now, I don't know a lot about French political structures. Marine Le Pen, de facto leader. I mean, why? Why did he call the election? Why did Macron call this election? He didn't have to. Why did he do it? Dumb. Dumb. Paul, let's see. Controlled immigration is a good thing, but it's not under control anymore. I disagree. I agree the fact that controlled immigration is a good thing. I disagree that it's not under control. I just, honestly, I think it's just all being drummed up by the right-wing media. It comes in waves. It's namby-pamby, kind of controlled, kind of not controlled. Honestly, if right-wing America wanted to control immigration, there's two ways to do it, and they can do it right away. Okay? Make it a felony to hire undocumented immigrants. Okay? Thank you, Bill. I live down by the Arizona border, southern border in Arizona. It's not nearly as bad as they say. Exactly. Make it a felony, okay, to hire undocumented immigrants. Period. That's it. That'll solve the problem. Okay. Second, those countries in Central and South America where immigrants are coming from, let's help them build their economies and improve their lives so that people don't feel the need to give up their homes and their families and travel thousands of miles with bandits and desert and jungles to come here. That will solve the problem. Walls don't fix the problem. Our stupid, immigration cells and all these other hoops that we make them jump through do not help. They're all fake. They're all fake solutions. And if Trump or any other politician wanted to solve the problems, they could have done it 40, 50 years ago. And the same is true in Europe. Okay? Europe, France in particular, has been exploiting Africa on multiple levels. African nations propping up dictators, anti-democratic, all kinds of corruption, everything you can imagine. Okay, but multiple European countries since decolonization, France has continued, and so for them to, they've done this arguably for the purpose of having that cheap illegal labor. And I would further argue that Trump bombed the shit out of Syria specifically to cause an immigration crisis in Europe so that a bunch of people like Marine Le Pen could get elected. That's the thing. Herb, I just don't think, quote unquote, closing the border works. Not between the United States and Mexico. It's 2,000 some odd miles of desert. I've spent a lot of time out there. I mean, I lived in New Mexico and Arizona and drove 1,000 miles a week almost for years out in the middle of the desert out there. And I know how impossible it is to actually close the border. It's just not possible. a wall. It's just a joke. There's ladders, there's tunnels, everything else. Closing the border is a band-aid on a gaping, massive wound. Stop you've got a massive flow here and a massive pull here, and you're trying to like put up a little, like a little finger in the dam or something. It's not going to work. You have to stop the flow at both ends, not in the middle. Most illegals are visa overstays. There we go. And frankly, most immigrants who come to America, and I believe also countries such as France and the EU, they're looking for a better life. They're not looking for a handout. They're looking to improve their lives and to work hard, basically. And I respect them for that. I don't like the idea, to be honest with you, of immigrants coming to another country and trying to impose their culture on the country that they come to. But a big problem with Herb, you're okay. You're okay, Herb. I like people having different opinions in here. It's totally cool. You're totally okay, man. Interesting. Silver Earth Abbott's murder buoys don't work now. The water is too low. There's grass growing around them. I spent billions on them. Oh, that's Governor Abbott in Texas. Murder buoys? I don't know about that. Okay. Anyway, Ken, thanks for coming. Have fun at the farmer's market. Interesting. After Brexit, we had fruit rotting on the vines, literally, because our seasonal workers were shut out. No one here wanted to or were available to do it. Yeah, and by the way, Wizard of Ooze, the same thing has happened periodically in California when there have been crackdowns on illegal immigration, or even at some points when migrant farm workers in California went on strike, and it was like a disaster, because there was nobody to pick the freaking fruit with their bleeding fingers, because they get paid literally like pennies on the dollar. If they made like gangbangers, which I think is a great idea, actually, Herb, if they made those gangbangers pick the fruit and paid them, what an American would expect to be paid with strawberries, you know what I mean? Cheryl and I both live in Southern Arizona, so we both have working knowledge of the border. Yeah. It's not as bad as what they make it look like on the news. Taking it back to Europe, though, I would like to posit to you, for various cultural reasons, Europe doesn't have, like in America, we spent 200 years figuring out how to accept immigrants. Yes, thank you, Paul. Different opinions is democracy. We are still trying to protect what we can still have. Yes. Cheryl, most of our food is grown in Mexico now. It's great for them. Yeah. So what I was saying is Europe, I would argue, doesn't have a social system, despite all of their social welfare systems and all of that. They don't have a society that is accepting of different cultures in the same way that America is. We spent 200 years in America. If you've ever watched like Gangs of New York, for example, Wizard of Ooze, can you make meth out of strawberries? I can almost guarantee you that someone in California has tried it. I grew up in like the meth capital of America, Sacramento, California. It was like, yeah, anyway, burn that bridge. The point I'm saying here is that as Americans, we spent, the better part of 200 years trying to figure out how to integrate immigrants into our society in one way or another. And I don't mean by law, I mean socially, how we integrate people socially and culturally. And Europe just doesn't have that. they're totally unprepared, and so what, especially in France, the like Muslims, for example, and I think in Germany as well, to a lesser extent, kind of ghettoize in not in the sense of being like poor, but that too, but in terms of just kind of like, I would say before before the 1950s or 60s, where racial groups, ethnic groups in America were separated. So you would have the Italian part of town and the black part of town and the Chinese part of town. And you literally were prohibited, in fact, starting in the 1930s by law through about the 1970s. If you were Chinese, you had to live in the Chinese part of town. Or if you were black, you had to live in, well, I don't know how ethnically granular it got, but if you weren't white, you weren't allowed to live in certain parts of town, even by law in America. And it was an attempt to it was racist, yes, but it was also to some degree an attempt to prevent racial conflict. That was the idea at the time in America. We've since learned that doesn't really work, and it's better to integrate those people. But Europe just doesn't have the social knowledge on a personal level to do that. They've all been living in the same place for 5,000 freaking years, you know. But this is scary, okay? That not just Le Pen, but her party. That's the important part. Her party, this national rally, which, you know, is ultimately, her father was a neo-Nazi, and National Rally itself is ultimately descended from Vichy France, the French collaborators. You know, her father, the founder of the party, was a Holocaust denier. Yeah, redlining. That's what it's called, Cheryl. That's what I was talking about, redlining, which, you know, still exists in a shadow way in large parts of the country, particularly in the east and northeast of the United States. A lot of people don't know about that. If the gangbangers can make a profit out of it, then absolutely, I can just see them hawking strawberry wine on the street corners. You know, why not? So, Herb, you may have just come up with a genius idea, man. Who knew? And maybe we can involve this whole Morning Glory plan. You guys, you and Paul and Cheryl are cooking up. We can have the gangbangers cooking strawberry Morning Glory wine. I'm liking this. I'm liking where this is going. But yeah, so France has, you know, Macron, I should say, has promised all this shit for Ukraine, and none of it's going to happen. You know, and it's all because of Macron's stupidity. So, thank God Stoltenberg, you know, is holding strong. And I hope to God that his successor, Rutte, you know, is going to be just as strong. But, you know, at least Stoltenberg is saying the truth here. Putin shows no readiness for peace talks. So, and Britain, you guys are awesome, and congratulations on your victory. I think, I mean, obviously, I don't completely agree with Labour, and I never liked Labour in the Bush years with your complicity in my country's stupid war. but I think Great Britain is going in the right direction. So that at least is good. Wizard of Oos, say even in the UK, you have the crazy situation, the far right rhetoric infecting youth of mixed ethnic backgrounds, accusing new immigrants of stealing all the social housing. Yeah, you know what? In America, for example, sometimes in some cases, the people who dislike, like in New Mexico, for example, in my personal experience, people who dislike Mexicans the most are people of Mexican descent, who maybe 2 or 3 generations removed, because they don't like these new people moving in on their turf or whatever, and those are the guys accusing the new Mexicans coming to New Mexico of stealing our social welfare or whatever it is. Yeah, Paul, it was a good idea to make Blair step down. Let's hope that Keir Starmer and the rest of them have their heads on right. I like this 100-year pact with the UK. So on the 12th of January, 10-year security agreement, and now they're talking about a 100-year pact. I don't know what that means or if it has the force of law or whatever, but it sounds great. You guys make me feel good. So, now we find out about China, who's been sending these basically Reaper drones, okay, to Libya, and it turns out that so Libya has had this civil war going on for how many years? Like 10 years or something. And basically you've got the democratically elected half of Libya, and then you've got this general who controls the other half of the country. And it turns out, oh, look, China has been supporting the anti-democratic side of Libya. Surprise, surprise. And they've been sending these disguised as wind turbine parts. Okay? So, obviously they're sending the same things to... I expect we're going to start seeing these in Russia soon, essentially. In the same way that China is apparently, and I don't have the article for it up in front of me, but China is apparently now manufacturing Shahed drones, just with the weapon part taken out, so it's technically non-lethal aid, but you can just plop some TNT in there, or prop. You just got a little slot, you plug in the explosive. So they're going to be sending these to this should be like the biggest concern right now, to be honest with you. How do I close this? Go away. This should be the biggest concern, though, is China helping either covertly and eventually overtly Russia. And it's the only way that Russia... Wait a minute. Cheryl and Herb, you guys, now be good now. This is funny. Cheryl says, my Tibetan visa overstay roommate used some of that free health care. Thanks, America. I approve. And Herb says, not taking the bait, Cheryl. You guys, that's the kind of stuff I love. I love it. Okay. That's really funny. Anyway, So this is, if Russia is going to win, this is the only way Russia is going to win. If China really starts cranking it out for Russia, and I think they already are on one level or another. But this is something that all the other stuff I think that NATO and the EU can deal with. Okay, but this issue of of China. We are so tied. Our economies are so tied. The EU, Germany, and America, our economies are so tied into China that this is going to be where it turns real hard for Europe and America. This is a very interesting piece of news. Romania scrambled F-16s recently during an attack on Ukraine. And I think it's a great response because, as we know, earlier this year, or maybe it was last year, there were multiple attacks that landed in Ukraine that actually, that landed in Romania that were intended to attack I believe the ports on if you guys don't know your geography very well, it's okay. But there's a whole section of Ukraine that extends down here that connects right directly with Romania. So Romania is right here. And if you don't know, this is the Danube River. This is the Danube River Delta. And so there's also a bunch of other canals and such all the way down here that Romania actually uses for its, that are the main shipping. But these towns, Orlivka, and I don't know all the other ones, Ismail. So the fact that Romania is doing this and taking action, I don't know what they're going to do with F-16s. If Romania has F-16s that are able to take down missiles or drones, I'm sure they could take down Shaheeds. Yeah, Paul, I need to have a deep dive into Starmer's new cabinet. Yeah, I haven't even looked at that yet, but I will be. I feel that good old Jonathan M.S. Pierce is going to good old Jonathan is going to give us, Jonathan M.S. Pierce, damned Doberman Company. Huh. Since 2014, we've been watching good men die. Most of the lads are dead. EU is a basket case, as is Britain. It's time to talk. Talk about what, damned Doberman? I'm curious. Please tell us what we should talk about. Do tell. So I talked about this before, about the third Patriot air defense system. I thought Ukraine already had 3 Patriots. I didn't know. Maybe it says here Germany has announced the arrival of a third air defense system sent by Germany to Ukraine. So, in other words, Germany already sent 2. And oh, gosh. Damn Doberman Company. I'm so glad we got a Russian troll here. Thank you so much for coming. Starmer is a Zionist, and whatever WEF is. David Kammer, new foreign secretary, says whites are Nazis. Okay. Fantastic. Tell us about the Jewish space lasers, please. Love this silliness. We had another guy in here the other day. It's probably you again under just another name. He had some wild stories. It was hilarious. Zionist, I know. Like, see, I love side conversations. They're great. By the way, the orcs stole another batch of Ukrainian grain. 80,000 tons of Ukrainian grain from this year's harvest in Donetsk Oblast temporary occupied territories. Am no trolling. What? Speak English. Yeah, KK's GG. I know. Damn Doberman Company. You totally missed it. Scroll back to oh my gosh. 45 minutes ago. Damn Doberman Company. Scroll back to 45 minutes ago. I gave everybody a tour of a Banderite hideout here in Ukraine. You should see it. It's amazing. Yeah. A Banderite hideout. You remember Stepana Bandera? Yeah. Thanks, Mitch. I will. Okay. So, I do have more to show of the drone stuff from last week. And I want to show that to you guys. I think that I am going to possibly do another live stream on Tuesday. Yeah, no, Secular Sakai, yeah, don't worry. Don't ban the troll yet. I'll do it if I have to. I just we have a funny little troll talking about, Zionists and all kinds of other weirdnesses. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, definitely he went back to look at the video from 45 minutes ago. Dude, Cheryl, JP is my comprehensive Ukraine news site. Thank you. I'm here for unique goofiness. Yeah, I agree. Actually, JP has really become my my primary source, or actually secondary source. But I have him in my ear all day because he's just churns it out. My power is going to shut off in 15 minutes. So I think this is for me. I have some other things I want to talk about here today. But I think I'm going to pick the latter part of this up on well, I think I'm going to pick the latter part of this up on Tuesday. I'm going to do a stream. I'm planning on doing a stream. I'm hoping for 5 p.m. So yeah, I just found this article pretty interesting. So this is what I'm going to end with today, guys. Pretty interesting article on the Ukraine Forum site. And, there's a lot of Americans, as you guys know, fighting here in Ukraine, just like these guys, just like the guys we are supporting here. So, please do what you can. And we're trying to buy these guys a truck. But I just love this title. Ukraine is the heir to America's revolutionary fight for liberty and liberation. And don't doubt it at all. Don't doubt that at all. Ukrainians are absolutely inspired by America's fight for independence. Sorry for the Brits here. From the Brits, and they look to that as a model. Where's the views? I see you said here. Keir Starmer is an esteemed human rights lawyer who has defended people on death row in other countries. He is not Jewish, so not a Zionist. His wife is former Ashkenazi. You see, he was right. She's a former Ashkenazi. God. Okay. Sorry, I'm terrible. I should be dragged out into the street and I don't know. Anyway, I just think that this is I just want to point that out. Given that, 4th of July just happened and Americans think they appreciate freedom and think that they're the freest country in the world. And oh, Belle, you're Sephardic. That's cool. I'm sarcastic. It's similar. I just want to let you know, and I've said this before, that Ukraine is the freest country that I've ever been to. I've never felt more free. And I've lived all over the United States, Western United States mostly, but Ashkenazi Jews. Here's a funny thing, and Bell or anybody who Cheryl, yeah, that was kind of the joke. Ashkenazi Jews are Jews of uncertain origin who primarily lived in the Eastern Europe in the Middle Ages, and nobody's really sure where they came from. Some people there was some theory that they were related to the Khazars of Ukraine, who were a ancient Turkic tribal confederation who actually converted to Judaism in the 7th and 8th centuries. If you don't know about the Khazars, the Khazar Khanate, where I live is part of Ukraine. Actually, Kiev itself was probably originally occupied or built by the Khazars. So in the 7th and 8th century. But that has been disproven, this theory, which led to a lot of wild conspiracy theories as well. That has been disproven genetically. There's no relationship between the Khazars and the Ashkenazis, apparently. But I don't know. Maybe future evidence will show something different. Pretty interesting. The history of the Ashkenazis is pretty cool. They're pretty mysterious, I would say. So yeah, I just want to remind all of you that if you're watching, you're probably here because Ukraine inspires you. At the same time, you inspire Ukraine. So take solace in that, and if you know a Ukrainian, if you see a Ukrainian posting somewhere, there's a lot of Ukrainian YouTubers popping up now. A lot of young women, just sort of doing like daily life in Ukraine. You know what I mean? Yulia is one. I can't think of all the other ones, but there's a lot of them. I occasionally share them on my community tab, my community posts. Even if you don't watch the videos a lot, go on to those YouTube channels of Ukrainians and just write a message that says something like, I'm here in America or I'm here in Great Britain and we support you. Just remind people of that. And I would even go so far as to suggest that if you are on YouTube a lot and you're really
Putin gone full,
and you're really on the whole Ukraine trip, you're going to get suggestions in Ukrainian, and let's see if I've got any. Yeah, here's one right here. Here's another one. Anna from Ukraine, there's a good one. Go on there and just type in hey, we support you. Glory to Ukraine, whatever. And I think that we just have to let the Ukrainians know in some kind of way that even despite all of this crazy Trump madness that America's going through and, France and these other countries, individuals in these countries still support them, and the majority of individuals do. Okay? And so that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. If you can't, buy a raffle ticket for $5, and if you can't go on my YouTube channel and, for example, go to my playlists. Remember, I talked about this. Go to my playlist and go to this Support Ukraine in Your Sleep playlist and just, play it on your computer at night with the sound off or at your work surreptitiously. If you can't do that, that's cool. Just go on to some of these channels occasionally, like this one. Well, okay, I don't think I can comment on. Oh, yeah, you can comment on this one and just say like this: Slava Ukraine. America loves Ukrainians. You know? And let them know. Let them know. Bell, that's really cool. I have 2 Ukrainian soldiers that chat with me on Telegram. Both thank me every day for my support. That's awesome.